Benjies, welcome to the BingeWorthy podcast, part of the Geekish Network. My name is Johnny Randolph, and I've got a stellar lineup for y'all this evening. My first co-host is, you already know him, he's the Newt from the Ville, Ricard. And let the people know who you are, son.
Hello, Governor.
Hello, Governor. Love it. Love it. And yo, back home with the BingeWorthy podcast. Centel, people know who you are, sir.
Oh, Miss Silly, home now. We home now. I'm so happy to kick it with my people, my day ones, on a show that has a lot to be talked about. So, let's get this bad boy started.
Ooh, and the premise of the BingeWorthy podcast is that we will binge watch an entire series every single week to let you know if you should. And tonight, as Centel alluded to, we are going to be reviewing Three Body Problems. When an astrophysicist who sees her father beaten to death during a struggle session in the Chinese Cultural Revolution. She is conscripted by the military because of her scientific background and is sent to a secret military base in a remote region. Her fateful decision at the base echoes across space and time to a group of scientists in the present day, forcing them to face humanity's greatest threat. All right, the way our show works is at the beginning, we will rate the series using our binge-worthy scale. We engage in conversation, and then we will re-rate it at the end. Now, I don't know how any of these gentlemen have rated it, so we're going to see here for the first time. I'm going to turn to my technical director, Rodney. Let us know how everybody on the BingeWorthy podcast rated Three Body Problems. Oh, so okay. So we got a full meal and two binge outs. I like it. All right. So let's see what we got here. All right, that gives it a 4.66. So right now we're gonna round that up to a full binge out. All right. So Centel, in Crosstalk, you gave us you showed us the book, right? You were so inspired, you broke out the book. So I'm gonna ask you first. Support the rationale behind your rating, sir.
Listen, there's like two different types of sci-fi people, right? You got people that get down with science fiction, space science fiction-y stuff, kind of like with Star Trek, and then you have the other kind that like science fiction-y stuff, like Foundation. Both are great, and both have their own lane. But on one side, you're enjoying the sci-fi for the fun and the amazement of just braving new frontiers. And on the other, you kind of want to get down, get in the engine, get in the details, get your hands oily and dirty with the science fiction. Three Body Problems is the latter. It is like a Foundation type of science fiction. And I like that. I like getting down to the elements, the protons and the electrons of why this thing works. It doesn't have to be 100% true. It could be a little pseudoscience, but I like lifting the hood, and that is what Three Body Problems presents. And it does it in a way with including the humanity of its characters and the struggles of them trying to fight over science, over faith. Perfect. That is what I was looking for, and I didn't even realize I was looking for it. That's why I gave it a binge rating.
All right. Ricard, what about you, sir? Defend your position.
I think for me, I gave it a binge worthy because I agree with what Centel said, but for me, the two different types of science fiction are, you got the kind of science fiction that's like Terminator, The Matrix. Is full of action and it's full of far off fantastical things. So you got your same adventure, you got action, but from a sci-fi lens. And then you got the other kind of sci-fi, which Jurassic Park, where you get into the real science and how do we get there? 2001: A Space Odyssey. And kind of like you said, you lift up the engine, you lift up the hood, and you in there poking around, you in the engine, you really trying to figure out how does this work. This series, for me, did a couple of things. To me, this series moved along at such a pace and it was so good that it made me want to read the book. Now, if you make me want to go back and read the book, that you have done something. Time is very short, time is precious. I ain't got that much of it. So to say that I want to take some time to go read this book, listen, I'm for it. I thought it had one of the particular episodes was one of the best hours of sci-fi television I think I have ever seen, and that's saying something. So, yeah, it wasn't as hard to give this as a binge out as you would think.
Okay. All right. And I am going to jump in here. And I love what both of you gentlemen said. You said that you wanted to lift up the hood and see how the engine worked, right? The rotator cuffs, the combustor, all the science, right? And I appreciated that this show delivered on that. But then you all talked about sci-fi where it was a little more action, a little more fighting and those things. And I wanted to see a little bit more of that in this series. So for me, that was the thing that separated it from being a full meal to a binge worthy. Now, what we got, it delivered. I thought it delivered. But for my personal preference, I wanted to see a few more fights. I wanted to see some more action. And I wanted to see, and we got it a little bit, but I want to see some damn aliens. I was in this world 8 hours and I want to see some more damn aliens, right? For me. And that was just for me. So I love looking under the hood. I love the protons that could shift into full planets and galaxies. I love the thought that human beings are liars and we can't trust you all. I loved all of those things, but I would have liked a little bit more action to speed it up and keep it there. So that's what kind of kept me right in that full meal range. Not bad, but if somebody asked me, should they watch it? I'd be like, hell yeah, you should watch it. The thing is, how far would I put it up on the priority list with all the great content that we have out there? So that was the difference for me. I couldn't say that this is top 3, top 5 that I would say go out there and watch, but I did enjoy being in
if I could throw something out there, Randy, I feel you. I didn't necessarily want to see the aliens or so much. I really kind of towards the end I got to wondering what do they actually look like. That whole and I know we're gonna talk about the Apple Vision Pro Premium package that they rolled out. But I think for me, I think the comparison to like Foundation is a good comparison because it was more science than it was action in this. And I think for this, because I didn't know what to expect, I accepted it being more along the Foundation line instead of something like Shogun, where Shogun is outstanding to me. And you want to have a lot of action because you're like, hey, this is samurais and stuff like that. This should be all sorts of sword fights and karate. You know what I'm saying? It should be kung fu everywhere. But it's not like that. It's House of Cards with samurais. So Three Body Problem is kind of more along those lanes. So I accepted it for what it was. But I feel you because action and what I say, Centel, killing seems to be my thing. I need people killed.
Hey, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. So I guess that's where I want to start off talking to you, Centel. So I thought in the early seasons, the pacing was a little slow, but that could just be my interpretation. For you, was the pacing slow, or were we establishing world building?
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna lie. Like the pacing is slow and it's slow and methodical on purpose, and it takes a second for you to kind of like get adjusted. It's kind of like jumping into like cold water for the first time, not jumping into cold water, but jumping into a pool for the first time. You kind of get the shock of it. It's the shock of the slowness. It's the shock of the science. But then once you start, doggy paddling in it, and you kind of get used to it, and it almost fades away. You almost don't notice the slowness again until after episode like 6, I'd say. So I was cool with the pacing, because in order for you to understand such a higher thought process to this type of storytelling, you can't really rush it. You have to kind of like take high thought stuff, dumb it down for like a high school type of audience. Because if you're trying to talk on a collegiate level, then we're talking about Netflix. You're gonna lose half of your people. And I, for one, appreciated them for that. I was like, thank you, because if you want me to stay on board, don't bore me. But then it had great moments. It interjected some great action, some great characters, some great one of the greatest moments, like Rakai said, which is arguably one of the greatest episodes of sci-fi that I've seen in ever. Was a great way of really breaking the monotony. It gave you like two or three more episodes of goodwill in order for you to kind of like thug it out to the very end. So it did a really good job of spacing out the moments to keep you invested.
Okay. All right. So Rakai, like this series has got a large cast. So from you, I want to know, how do you think the writers did weaving all these different plots together to forge like one cohesive story?
I think they did an excellent job, and I think when you have competent showrunners and EPs, if they have good source material, they can do that. So you got D&D, the Benioff and Wise, or whatever their names are, the guys who are behind Game of Thrones. And a lot of people are cross and upset with those dudes because the later seasons of Game of Thrones went completely off the damn rails. You're like, what the hell is this? But that is also, to be fair, when they were going straight from what George R.R. Martin was writing, they was golden, and we loved it. When they started having their own people, themselves was in the right room, and they started writing their own shit, we was like, okay, this is shit. This is terrible. Terrible. It's like we went from masterpiece paintings from Picasso to finger paints, and no sir, we got on the short bus. Don't do it. And also the other showrunner was Alexander Wu, who came from True Blood. Same with True Blood. True Blood started off very strong, and then it got to some of them later seasons. Like, what in the hell is going on? They have got the entire supernatural forest out here. We got demons, fairies, you know what I'm saying? Chupacabras. We got all types of bullshit out here. You got the horned goat man. What the hell? Like, so for right now, because they're going off of the book, which I admit I have not read, but the way that they put together this narrative seemed to be pretty strong. It did pace slow. And listen, episode 1, I was like, listen, I know this is supposed to be good, but listen, episode 2 was better. Episode 3, I was finally invested. Episode 4 was good. And anyway, you can make your own determination when you watch. But yeah, episode 1 and maybe even 2 were hard to get through because they had to build the world. They had to give you the characters. And the one thing I did appreciate is true Game of Thrones style. If you were like, oh, I like that character, anybody can get it.
Anybody
there was a couple of things I was like, I did not see that coming. I didn't expect that to happen.
Yes.
Why they kill Sam? I'm no spoiler. Not too much, Sam. That's all Sam wanted to do was play the game. And he was like, I ain't gonna be your puppet, right? They had to do that too. And I know that's not the actor's name. I just,
speaking of that, there were a lot of Game of Thrones actors in there. You had Sam, you had Davos, you had there's at least 2 more. I think it's like 4. It's either 4 or 5 Game of Thrones actors that are actually in this show as well.
Yeah. I think it was solid in what it portrayed, and I think I think it was only as solid as it was because there were some great actors that pulled heavy duty and really made the material come alive.
Yeah, I can get that. And Centel, you are a thespian, sir. So what'd you think about the quality of the acting?
Yeah, man. There's a legendary performance from the guy that used to play Davos Seaworth, I think, in the original Game of Thrones. Davos something. But anyways, the actor's
Hmm.
name is Liam Cunningham. Wade is a take no shit by the book. We're going to get this done type of character, and he plays it perfectly. Rakai has gone at length. I don't want to talk about him too much because Rakai can describe him a lot better than I can. But then there's also like some really good subtle performances that don't really shine until a little bit later. And one of them is from a character named Saul. You're almost annoyed to the point that you don't want anything to do with him. And then when he has his moment, it really comes through. So he kind of like held the reins. Another one was the actress that played Wenji, a tormented soul from the time that she was a child until her her end. I'm trying not to spoil anything. And you get to see her kind of like go through the process of what it means to maybe be a Benedict Arnold. So there's a lot of good stuff if you give it time to breathe. But there are some people that steal the show. Like there's some performances that you wish you could have gotten more from. The character Jack Rooney was exceptional. Almost stole the show for the first 2 episodes when the show itself as a whole was its slowest. Jack's character was a very good job of like keeping the funny going, keeping the pace going, having the cool little quips, and then also another great subtle performance that really grows on you by Benedict Wong, who plays Dashi, and he plays like this an inspector, not inspector, an investigator per se, I guess.
Yeah.
He has a lot of different wandering roles, and when other characters aren't able to keep the funny going, he has a very interesting humor about himself that pushes it along too. He kind of like picks up the baton and keeps it going. So the performances were stellar.
Yeah, I thought they were solid. And he was my actual favorite character in the series, right? From beginning to end. I loved seeing, I don't know, the way he was able to make transit. Like we see him on the couch with his son one moment, having those things. And then we see him like literally putting his life on the line for other people and putting together puzzle pieces like for what's really going on. Like this is something that's unusual here. And so yeah, I thought it was dope. So, and I have to concur with you, man. I thought the casting solid. What about you, Rikai? Was there any performance that stood out to you from the acting cast?
I would have to say, as much as I loved Benedict Wong's inspector detective, to me, Liam Cunningham as Wade, the no nonsense. I don't even know who the hell he is. I don't know who he worked for because he seemed like he's
Right, that's the
above.
joke.
Yeah, like I don't know, like he's the king of England. I don't know what the hell he is because
Yeah, right. She
you
said
know.
that she's like, my husband works. He's in the Navy, so unless you're the king of England, you're not his boss.
He said, "Oh, I'm his boss."
I'm his boss.
Um, even the time when Raj was like, he's like, any other sackless Navy man asked for my ID. He said, "Can I see your ID?" His whole demeanor changed when he saw his ID.
Tighten up real
I
quick.
was like, listen, I've seen the James Bond movies, and he's clearly not, M or whatever. I don't know who the hell he is, but he above them. Like he probably only answered to Queen Elizabeth or King Charles and the Prime Minister or something. Like I don't know, that dude. And every time he got on screen, like the way that he handled problems, the way that he handled the main problem. He always kept the main thing, and he's like, listen, you may not like the answer. You may have to grapple with it in your soul or whatever, but this is what's going to happen. This is what we're going to do. Let's get it. You don't like calling me boss? Well, cool. You the boss. What we do next, boss? You know what I'm saying? Let's go. I don't give a shit.
It don't even matter, right? We're not gonna sit here, dog. Yeah. You want to be the boss, you're the boss.
Yeah,
he was listen to what I say.
But you're gonna listen to what I say.
Yeah, he
We
was
can play whatever
definitely
game you want.
All right.
But you're gonna do this. You're gonna do
Yeah.
these tasks.
Did that make you
Yeah.
feel better? All right, you in charge.
yeah, he was clearly G14 classified, like whatever. He was that guy. He probably stood out to me more than anyone else in the show. Because he would come in, he didn't have long pieces. He had a long piece, I think it may be episode 8 or whatever, where around the end where you really got to see him flex. He was in there sparingly in the beginning, and he was fantastic. I think the other standout for me is I don't know his name, but the young man who played Will.
Yeah.
I I liked Will, and the thing was, I kind of resonated with Will, and I think for anyone who's watching the show, um, unless you have a completely narcissistic side to you and you see yourself in one of these geniuses who's on the screen, because that's something, like damn near everybody on the screen is some sort of genius. I mean, even Wade's got his talents or what have you. Will is a genius, but Will is the everyman. Will is who you can see yourself because he's got empathy, he's got a heart, and even he's got imposter syndrome real bad because he doesn't think that he belongs. He is running with a crew of some of the smartest people on earth, and he still doesn't think that he's one of them. And it's his heart that I thought was going to be a real seminal point in the show, and it deviated from that. And I was like, well,
Wrong organ.
shit,
Wrong
man.
organ. It wasn't. Okay, let me stop.
That part.
We got some great activity in the chat. Mark said, Liam was Sector 7 classified.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but that sounds super
Yes,
important.
yeah. And Sage Nessa, thank you for joining. Said talked about when we were talking about the earlier episode, it was a odd structure for the first season. Episodes 1 through 5 were book 1. Episodes 6 to 8 had book 2 and some book 3 elements, but it was all set up so the true climax episode felt a little like a middle episode. And I can
definitely understand that.
For that.
So
I mean, it was the mid-season kickoff, episode 5, right? So yeah. So
I can definitely give that. So one of the things I want to talk about, like in this, it plays a big role at the beginning. Like they had the best VR technology ever. Like Apple Vision and Oculus had nothing on this technology. So let's start with you, Centel, man. How did you think though this use of this VR set to play this game, which I thought was dope? I thought was so cool. What did you think of it as a plot device in the season?
It was great. The timing of it was perfect. I'm wondering if they use the same technology in the books. I think that the book is definitely older than the advent of the Apple's version of the headset. But the timing of it couldn't have been better because we are at that space where having these VR headsets is the thing, and we're seeing companies position themselves in order to latch on because that is the quote unquote future of entertainment and computing. Well, anyways, to see it at a higher level of where you think Apple is thinking or where you think Meta is thinking it's going to be, and to see it shown in real time was dope. It was dope. It was so dope that you think that what you're looking at is a very pivotal part of the plot. Because you see the visors all on social media, you see they look cool on the screen. There's some interesting things happening when you're in that space, but then you come to find out that it's really not as essential as you think, but that's how dope it is of a flex. It's a flex for the story. It's a flex for the aliens that are, or whoever it is that is behind this technology. So it gives you a good firm foundation of where we're going on a technology level, and then just when you think that's amazing, they ramp it up to whole other different levels. So it was a good way of introducing you to strap in, because we're about to show you some stuff that you may not be ready for.
Yeah, man. What about you, Rick? How do you think it helped to move the plot along? Because it played a
I think
early part. It played a big role.
when Centel and I were reviewing this on his channel, um, he made a reference to 1999 Super Bowl commercial. Says you cannot be told what the Matrix is. You have to experience. And when we all went to the movie theater and saw that movie, we saw some of the most mind-blowing shit ever. The Wachowskis delivered on the promise. Um, it's stuff like that, having seen that, that gets your mind ready for the trip that you're going to be taking on. You know, VR headsets is not new. They start talking about VR and all that
Remember
stuff
the
like in the
Activision thing
70s.
back in the day with the little
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and even like 3D technology and the red lens, blue lens type stuff. So that's been around for a very long time. Um, I think using the Apple Vision Pro as kind of the prototype, but let's bling it out. Let's make it all chrome. Let's remove all of the, cords and everything from it or whatever, and just make it a solid piece. It looked alien, but it also looked familiar. It was easy for us to see it and be like, that looks just like the Apple Vision Pro. And as a matter of fact, I would be surprised if Apple didn't throw some money into the thing. We don't even have to put our name on nothing because it looks like our stuff. And people be out in flocks buying the Apple Vision Pro because they're like, "Can I get that
Can I
three
get that
body
chrome
shit?
color one?
Yeah, let me get that.
Sitting
Let me
on
get
chrome.
yeah." Um,
People at
but
the
I
Apple Store
think,
like, what the hell are you talking about? Like,
but I think by doing it that way, it gave us a point of reference, something that we can be familiar with and we can wrap our mind around instead of it being a completely foreign device. Uh, However, I think Liam, Wade said it perfectly when he and Jen strapped in and he put it on for the first time and he jumped in the first. He said, "Holy F!" Like, jeez, yeah, he was not ready, and and that's the thing. It's just like the way that they used it to to play a game. And for the first half of the show, I thought that they were actually tasking our scientists with solving the problem.
Right.
And in a way they were, but in a way they were showing them that trying to solve this problem is also an impossible task. And that's why we're in the predicament that we're in. And it was very clever. It's actually manipulative in a way, but it's very clever to do it in that way.
Yeah, can I co-sign a little bit on what you're
right.
saying? I think you're absolutely right. It did a really good job of setting the tone for us, the viewers, as to how we're going to accept these aliens. Well, damn, I'm trying not to spoil it, but yeah, like I said, the aliens. So it set the tone on how we're going to accept this thing, right? But then when the story takes the turn, it you really feel it because you have this empathy in the beginning, and some things happen, and that when the change happens, it's a little jarring, and it makes that oh shit moment a little bit more oh shitty. You know what I'm saying? All right, so that's it.
yeah, man.
Well, no,
And they even give us a little girl, right? They even give us a little girl in there to attach to it. And
yeah,
level, we see tragedy happen to her. So it just pulled us all the way in.
but I think that's what's most interesting about it is because when the turn happens and they get pissed off or whatever, because in their society, they don't lie.
Yeah.
But the video game says you manipulate because that give us a little girl like save me, Copernicus. Every damn time she put on the headset, she came out that headset looking like a crackhead because she's trying to save this little girl. That's manipulative as hell.
I love that plot point so much that it was one of the reasons I probably didn't give it a full meal, which I understand the story moved away from it. It was an introductory, but I enjoyed it so much that I was hooked, and I was like, I want to see more from this game and the different levels that they go through with the headset. One of the things I also thought was cool when they talked about the dehydration, and it was like if one of us lives, all of us lives, and they're able to dehydrate themselves and then rehydrate themselves. I thought that was cool, man.
Yeah, that shit was crazy. I mean, Can you imagine just thousands of butt naked ass people
Butt
coming out the
ass
water?
naked, just running,
Like
just coming out the
Yeah.
pool.
I was
Yeah.
like, man, I'm about to instantly go on vacation. Let me go grab me one. So, there any Brazilians coming out the water? Give me give me a young Rihanna coming out the water. Uh, I think probably one of the greatest things about the VR thing was when they allowed Jen and Jack to team up.
Yeah.
Because the difference in that was Jen was working herself to death. She turned into a crackhead. She looked like she was,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
She
saying?
let herself all the way go.
Yo, when she broke
Yeah,
out the
she let
whiteboard,
herself
you
all
knew
the
it was
way
a
go.
situation.
Yeah, like trying to figure out how to save the little girl. Where Jack, on the other hand, didn't give a shit about that little girl. He did not care. He's like, this a game. And in his mind, it was nothing more than that. This a game. Screw you, little girl, or whatever. And it's certain things that he had figured out and Jen had figured out when they were able to team up together and play, together, little cross play there.
Yeah.
It moved the story and it moved that particular device along, even
Yeah.
to a negative
Yeah.
result.
Yeah, I mean, and then it gave like great moments. That's like when we go back to Jack, and him knowing when to give us some humor, in order to kind of like speed things along. Like, because I have gamed many a times with somebody and they just don't want to like go by the rules of the game. They kind of want to like do their own thing. And Jack is over here knocking people out, like bang, like yo, we trying to fix these, get these clues and stuff, and you cold cocking people, but it fits because I'm sure if you've played online, you've gamed with that person before. Zach is like, man, I ain't trying to do all that dumb shit. Let's go and figure out what it is that needs to be done. So I felt that, and Jack was perfect for that. All right.
Cool. So our title character was it, and I'm gonna mess up this name. Yi Wenji, is it?
Yeah, yay Wingy.
Okay. So let's talk about her. We're kind of actually like, what did you think about her arc throughout the season, or did
Listen,
she have an arc?
she needed an arc because I wanted to beat her ass.
That's what they say. Don't hit the
Yeah.
button. Don't hit the button.
Bruh.
Yep, I wanted to swole her, and here's
Not
the thing.
advocate violence here at the Geeks Network, but I understand what you're saying, my brother.
Listen, I would easily, not me. I go get my auntie to beat her ass. Man. So here's the thing. I understand, especially when you're and I don't want to say minority, but when you're disenfranchised, you're whatever your disparity is. She was a victim during the Red Party time in China, and she became basically a political prisoner. She watched her father be murdered in front of her by a child soldier with zero remorse. Um, she's angry, and unfortunately, living in America, hell, we have prisons full of her.
Yeah.
Prisons full of her, people who have been railroaded by the system,
Facts.
um, and who, if it came down to them to make a choice such as this, they wouldn't have gave a shit about humanity. They wouldn't have gave a shit about anybody in the town. As a matter of fact, it's like, listen, aliens, on your first stop, can you stop by this person's house and personally, you know what I'm saying? Do y'all still do the probes and the Buddha thing? Can y'all get that to go like? And unfortunately, we found a few people who were first contact with this alien race who were angry, bitter, in desperate need of therapy. And they doomed humanity on their bullshit. And I think I said to Centel the entire time, probably one of the things, me personally, I am a Christian minister and I take my faith very seriously. And for a bunch of damn near atheist people, all these scientists, to go into our Lord, my Lord, and they transferred what you learn as a child in religion, and they took that whole framework, that whole structure, and applied it to the aliens because the aliens had superior technology. That shit burned me up. Burned me up because it's bullshit. Do you be who you are? You know what I'm saying? But these aliens come through and they're performing miracles. No, they have the iMac 97. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
man.
saying? We own the iMac with the M3 chip. They got the 500 chip. You know what I'm saying? They on some different shit. And that's all it was. It was technology. That is not signs and miracles, especially for a bunch of the scientists who were like, I only believe in what the evidence shows me. Well, now we in a different realm of understanding. You have to adjust your understanding around that. And they didn't. They took an old framework and put religion on it. And I ain't like that shit.
Yeah. It was interesting they were calling him Lord and all of that. But the thing is, too, like their technology necessarily, they described it as we were moving faster along evolutionary wise from like the hunter-gatherer society to agriculture to industrial to the information age because we didn't have to restart all the way over, right? Their three sons wipes out everything, so they have to start over. So it's one of the reasons they were kind of scared of us. But I like the point where they talked about how they were going to spy on us was the protons. Then this proton the size of a nucleus and it expanded to like a planet, almost a galaxy. So I thought that was an interesting take. So, and since I'm interested in your thoughts on that plot device. What do you think about that?
Yo, talk about something I have never seen before. I mean, I've heard of like multi-dimensional things and objects and stuff. And I've seen a couple of TED Talks and seen some YouTube videos of people trying to explain to me what it means to think in a fourth dimension and all of that. And it all just sounds like blah, 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 blah after a while, right? And I consider myself to be, pretty smart. I mean, I'm a regularly pretty smart dude, but this, the thing I love about the beauty of visual storytelling is you have to show, not tell. Show. And they were like, hey, person over here watching this really high level scientific show, I'm gonna just show you some cool shit and just tell you that this is what they can do. I appreciate that. I do. Not everything has to be going, down by the book. And for them to take this idea that there are these elements that exist in many verses, up to 10 dimensions, if extrapolated, their size exponentially increases. It's kind of like what they were saying. And they took something as small as a proton that they found in the 10th dimension and extrapolated it across all these different dimensions until it finally came to ours. And something as small as a proton extrapolated to something the size of a planet. That's dope. Not only is it dope, they're able to make that thing, that small little microscopic thing, intelligent on a level that even a small portion of that extrapolation is faster than any computer we could even remotely dream of. Smart enough that it can monitor every single thing happening on a planet. Smart enough that it can dictate the basic laws of science. Smart enough that not only can it dictate, it can manipulate it so that further science cannot be increased or even thought of. It's one thing to eliminate all the smartest people on the planet. It's a totally different thing to take away the tools that make them smart to begin with. I could never, even in my craziest dream, think of that concept. And then not just think of it, but then tell it and say it in layman's terms so that I can enjoy the pretty pictures going across the screen.
Mm-hmm. And even that where they had the second proton, so they got the one that's spying on the whole world at the same time. Then they got the second one that's putting the the countdowns of people's eyes and actively out here messing with people. Listen, that shit right there was a revelation. That was the craziest shit ever. It's crazy.
And to attack the science, that was the strategy. Like we can't beat you all, right? We can't beat you all, but we can take away all of your science and your knowledge. And so they said something was interesting to me. It said, so even the answers to your questions don't matter anymore because we've taken away all the knowledge.
No,
I've never seen that plot.
Never. Never.
When the girl who was the AI inside the goggles, when she was explaining to them what the Santi had done, and when the dopest line in the whole show, when she told them, "We're gonna teach you how to fear again."
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
The hair on my arm stood up. I was like, "Oh shit!"
What made my arm set was like, so you all are liars. We can't mess with y'all. Like, he told them that. I was like, yeah, oh shit. You scare us. Y'all lie. So we can't trust y'all. It's like having a relationship and you like, oh, damn, you lie. I can't.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about that is you told us that you don't lie. That don't make it true. Shit, liars say that they don't lie. That don't make it true. I don't know who that girl is in my phone listed as Pizza Hut. I don't know who that. No, get out of here.
I loved it when the one character you were talking about, Rakai, when they went into the VR, the ones who weren't supposed to be there, she cut their throat as soon as they put on that thing. They was like, "Whoa, let me." I can taste the blood. Like, yeah, like you ain't supposed to be here.
You were not invited. Who invited you?
Yeah, and Jack kept going in like a dumbass. He had to try.
I wanted to see how he finally get in without her cutting his throat, because she did it a couple times to him.
She did it several times, and then they just sent him one.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
There's something else I thought was kind of dope too, is how they broke down, why they're not able to advance on the same level that we are. And when there was questioning, there was like, well, how long did it take you to go from, cavemen to agriculture? It was like 100,000 years, to industrial revolution.
It was from hunter-gatherer to agriculture.
Right. And it was exponential.
Yeah.
And the brilliance of Jen is she was like, you all were never able to move as fast because you had total apocalyptic moments happening on a global scale that resets you every single time. And even yet, with all of those resets, they were still at the point where they are right now, which leads me to believe a couple of things. They're really fast learners and they're resilient. They're obviously resilient because they've all those different instances that we saw in the goggles of them being burned to pieces, to there being no water, to them being all this other stuff, and yet they still survived. So what is coming to the planet is built for it. Like that's the thing.
When she said though, she said at first, she said this isn't an invasion, this is a funeral procession. But still at the same time, that was when we trusted y'all. We don't trust y'all now. So we come with a big ass can of Raid.
Yeah, they coming. And they coming quickly. It ain't gonna take 400 years.
Yo, and people, somebody asked them twice and was like, yo, what do you look like? And they was like, yeah, it would be unsettling. You don't really want to see that. Like, hold on, you can't end that statement like that. You got to tell me something now. I'm like, what do you like, a squid? You look like an octopus?
We're cosplaying for you because you can't handle all this smoke. We cosplaying as humans for you guys.
And somewhere, William Shatner's Captain James T. Kirk was like, you don't know what I done out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, show me what you look like, baby.
He's like, look, I bet I'll try it.
And they said 10 dimensions. I didn't know that was even a thing. I didn't know 10 dimensions. I was like 4 or 5. Like, I didn't know 10 dimensions was a thing. Like, that was okay. I wonder what like scientific things do we have? Is that like one of these theories, like string theory or something out there like that? Because Jen broke it down. Jen, I thought was a dope character. What you guys think about Jen?
That's the right way. Because she's aggravating, but she's really smart. At the time that we see her, she's the smartest person in the room at the time. Until other revelations come up. She's annoying, but she is our mouthpiece for the science. For us, the viewers. So you kind of gotta respect what she says. But she's unnerving. As many times I'm like, Jen, I just need you to chill out. I just need you to chill out.
When G said she could be the brightest physicist of her generation, And old dude asked her, he said, "She smarter than you?" She's like, "Nah."
Slow down.
She ain't that good. Pump
She
the
said, "Of
brakes,
her
like,
He ain't
generation,
that good. Yeah,
not
yeah,
Amber, her generation."
yeah.
I was very
Yeah, she
specific in
aight.
my wording. I said her.
I tell you what, no one Saul frustrated the piss out of me. Like he just Saul. Ugh, ugh. Our two,
Star was knocking them down, right? Star could pull like, but all of them
he
were
was
trying to be
smoking and
this,
smoking them.
but yeah, Saul was knocking him down. We weren't watching How to Be a Player. We were watching a different show. Like Saul, here's my frustration with him. In Hollywood, we know that representation matters. That's why we lost our mind for really a mid story. But Black Panther was the greatest movie ever. And it wasn't about how great the story was, it's about everything in the movie, how it was presented, how it was done, how it was acted, everything to get to see we got represented. One of the greatest superheroes out there, we got represented. Saul is the smartest man probably on the damn planet. He was definitely the smartest person of all that whole crew. And he spent the entire damn show trying to be Snoop Dogg. He's out here knocking them down left and right. He is smoking till his brain just dies. You know, like them 80s commercials, this is your brain on drugs. That was always Saul shit. Like, bruh.
Yeah, and he
This
had
is
a
how we get
bad one on his arm
represented.
too. I'm like, come on, bro, you messing up everywhere. The baddest one in the whole show. Augie was a cold piece of work. Is a cold piece of work, boy.
Man,
you're right.
listen, Isa Gonzalez is a beast. Like she is cold blooded.
Yeah.
He's too smoked out. I wish somebody would love me like that. Where your high ass been?
But I guess we don't get a lot of character development for those characters. We see them just in this space. Maybe there is a rationale behind, like,
I don't know. I think the only one we don't get character development from for real is Saul until the end, until the revelation happens. Like we get nothing out of him damn near the entire show. And I swear,
that's what I'm interested.
ass Augie, oh, Augie
Interested for
stayed
Centel when you
pissing
read the
me off.
book to see, do they explore, do we get better character
Mhm.
development for Saul?
But I did like his story when they
And
finally give him
they
finally give the opportunity to tell his story. It's really good, and you can see the changes. You can see him going through it. Like there's still half of that you still want to smack him.
Yeah.
You still want to smack him, but when it finally kind of like starts to sink in, and you're like, yeah, bro, you dude. It's like, yeah. You just want to shake them.
Car accident though, I wasn't expecting. I don't want it. Damn, they really did that.
I want my White Widow super cheese.
Yo, he was knocking that shit. He was like, you don't even know my name.
Like, you don't know my name. Yeah.
He's like,
you know what this is,
baby.
You know what this is.
Yeah.
Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Your Uber's on his way.
No problem.
Man.
You was good with me calling you baby girl last night when you was taking them clothes off. So let's keep it all the way G.
Don't get all high and mighty with me now because it's morning. Chill out.
We're going to end this how we started it. Cool. I think we talked about it now. So let's go ahead and re-rate it, fellas. Ricardo, start with you. How are you going to re-rate it?
I think my feelings are still the same. Now that it's over with, it's hard for me to go back and watch series, especially, you know what I'm saying, just due to time. But this, I wouldn't mind watching this again now that I know what's in front of me to kind of slow it down in my mind and watch and pick up on some points I think I missed. I would definitely love to read the book. And I really can't wait for the people who are the book readers and have said that that they like what was presented by Netflix, but the insanity, the action, everything that we wanted comes in book 2, comes in the Dark Forest. So that I want to see. Listen, where is production already started on that? I want that.
Not yet.
And because of those things, yeah, I'm gonna stay at a 5. I'm gonna stay at a full binge out. I would for those who this genre of entertainment is for them, I would definitely put this at the top of my list to advocate for. Hey, you need to be up on this. And this is not for everybody. That's first. It's not for everybody. It was for me.
Just good stuff. That's your take. I got no problem with it. I'm gonna stick it a full meal for it, right? I enjoyed this conversation, and I did pick up some jewels and nuggets from the course of this conversation. I just again, and it's on me, right? Again, what Rikai said, it's on me. I just wanted a little bit more action, a little bit more action. I want to see some more, and maybe we get that in season 2 if we get a season 2, because I don't know if we're getting one or not. And I just thought because we needed some more action, and the end was just a little anticlimactic for me, right? Like we spent 8 hours in this world, and like to stick the landing, you gave me kind of like so
it went off like an episode of TV, like we'll see you next week.
Right. Yeah, it just wasn't that. But it is good. It is good. And I definitely would tell anybody, go ahead and watch that. So I give it a high recommendation, but it didn't quite move to the level of full binge out for me. So I'm gonna stick with a full meal. Centel, how about you? Bring us on home, man. How you gonna re-rate it?
You know what? Here's the thing. I think Rakai said it best. This is not for everybody. It's just not, and that's fine. That's fine. If you are a fan of shows like For All Mankind on Apple, which is great. If you're a fan of shows like The Expanse, if you're a fan of shows like Foundation, this is for you. This is the best of that tier. It is. It just is. If you're on the fence, just get to episode 5. If you're still on board for episode 5, you're good. If you get to episode 5 and you're like, this isn't for me, it's just not for you. And there's no judgment. Like this isn't a judgment show. Like if somebody's like, I ain't feeling Foundation or The Expanse, I get it. I totally understand it. But if you like those kind of shows, boy, it is the Rolls Royce of that shit. Let me tell you, it is not going to disappoint. It's going to go above and beyond, and you're going to do what I just did and go on Amazon and be like, I need to know more. I highly recommend it. It does not budge from BingeWorthy. But it comes with BingeWorthy with that little asterisk. It is, I promise you, it is not going to be BingeWorthy for everyone, and that's okay.
And let me throw out there, because we know we're missing a couple of our normal co-hosts today. Charles was busy last week. He's very important. And yes, he's out there. He's probably making one of these goggles right now and shit. That's probably what he's doing. While he has on his Apple Vision Pros right now, he's probably out here playing with protons and nucleus. And Courtney Scott Wright, she was not with us today, but she did send in her rating.
Yeah, she did send in I was just about to say that.
And her rating, and now that since we didn't change for the 3 of us, she said her rating was a 3. She had a mini meal. She said it was a lot of character development, and it just did not move the needle for her. It did not move at the pace that she would have liked. It was just a little bit too slow. Now, looking at our ratings, including Courtney's, that would move us to a 4.25, which is a full meal.
Yep.
Can I say just one thing? I think we left out a dope moment. We didn't talk about the nanofiber and the scene with the nanofiber. And I just want to say, watch episode 5. It's worth it just to see what we're talking about regarding the nanofiber. The big proton thing is dope. the nanofiber is on the same level of dopeness. Episode 5 hits you with a it's a
Yeah.
2-piece. So that's it. Okay.
And I was gonna say, hey, chat, drop in the chat. What did you guys think of it? What rating did you guys think of it? Cool. All right. So yeah, that does bring us up to 4.25, which will move it down a little bit. So, but still a high rating. For 3 body problems, we're going to give it a full meal. All right. Cool.
I think that's a very fair rating.
Yep. All right.
That's fair.
Yep. Centel, got anything to say before we head out, good sir?
Oh yeah. Hey, please head on out and check out the channel Centel. It's at youtube.com/Centel. And also there's an international channel called youtube.com/Cinema Mosaic. One deals with pop culture, other one deals with the international scene. And we actually cover the 3 body problem on the main channel, on the Centel channel. So if you have time, you just want to know a little bit more, head on over there. Thank you guys. Appreciate that.
Appreciate it. All right. Rakai, where can the people find you at, good sir?
Same with me. You can head over to my YouTube channel, Noop from the Ville. Exactly like you see it on here, just youtube.com/Noop from the Ville. Reviewing quite a few things. I've restarted my YouTube channel here recently, and I'm excited about where we're going. So yeah, NUPEFROMDAVILLE. Do you want to ride?
I love the way Debbie the backseat of the caddy. All right. Shouts out to our technical director, Rodney. He handles all the transitions and everything. He's the best technical director on the internet. Shouts out to Digital Click. They provide all of our marketing and promotional needs. So if you're ever in consideration for some marketing or promotional needs for your organization, consider hiring Digital Click. The Big Geekish Network. We are the premier BIPOC organization network out there, Black, Indigenous people of color. And we create dope content for people who look like you. So you should support us. Hit those likes. You can watch us on YouTube. Where else we on? We're on YouTube, Facebook. What's the other one?
Twitch,
Twitch,
Instagram.
We everywhere. Instagram. All across social network, all across social media. So follow us, like us, subscribe to us, share us with your friends so we can continue to keep creating dope content for people like you. My name is Johnny Randolph, and you want to find out or connect with me, my socials are across all social media. You can find me at johnny.l.randolph. All right, until then, we'll see you guys next week. Same geek time, same geek channel. I'll see y'all later. Peace.
Oh, Pam.